Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me, it's Andrew Meadows.
Colton Brown! Welcome to 2019, sir.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and I suppose I should say the same to you. And I think maybe we should collectively say a Happy New Year to our listeners as well. That would probably be the courteous thing to do, right?
That would be very courteous indeed. Yes.
Well, in that case, let's do the courteous thing and say Happy 2019 to all of our listeners. It's going to be an exciting year. I feel like it's a little bit of same old for both of us at this point. You know, I'm about to go back to another semester of law school, and that's going to be great fun, and you're going to go back to work, right?
I'm going to go back to work. That's it.
But, I say that, but we did have some time off, and I wanted to ask you how your vacation went.
I've been bedridden, sick for probably close to 4 or 5 days. Coming off the tail end of it now. I went to the doctor, and they said I had a cold. They said I had an ear infection. They said I had a nose infection, and I had whatever's infected in my nose, and my throat was infected. So essentially, my whole head was a giant infection. Which probably
you just have to cut it off. I think. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the only solution, right?
Yeah, probably. So they gave me some antibiotics, and I've been taking those for the past 4 or 5 days, or maybe 4 days, 3 days. And
have you been feeling better?
Modern medicine makes a world of difference. It's amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
So yeah, I did. However, I can tell you that I did go skiing. It was nice, but the night before I went skiing, or the night I left for vacation, I guess, I went to go see Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, did you now? Maybe I saw it too. Do you think maybe we saw it because we're talking about it on this episode? Does that seem like a strong possibility?
I think we might have seen it in preparation for this episode. Yes,
we did. We actually intended to record this episode before you left for your vacation, but it wasn't meant to be.
Do it.
Yeah, it was just as well. It would have been a two of us both very tired recording on it, and it was just as well just kind of wait and do it once you got back. I'm actually back up in Philadelphia now. I had a nice couple relaxing weeks back at home, sort of home, Virginia, with my parents. So it was nice to spend some time with them. I haven't had like a Christmas and New Year block like at home in
quite a while.
Yeah, so it's nice to have that, and weirdly enough, I feel recharged and ready to go for the normal life. So we'll see how long that feeling lasts, but I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. So let's get things started. Do you have a fun fact prepared for listeners this week? I know you've let us down the past couple episodes, so I'm putting the onus on you to pick the torch back up. And
well, it is a new year, new me. That is what they say.
That's some resolutions. I'm going to have a fun fact ready for every fucking episode ever. We'll see how long that lasts. What do you got? What do you got?
Mary Poppins was released. The original Mary Poppins was originally released August 27th, 1964. Mary Poppins Returns, the movie we're covering tonight, was released December 25th, 2018. That is a time period of 54 years, 120 days. There's a 54-year, 120-day gap between those releases.
So, is that a record?
I don't think so. I guess maybe in terms of we actually talked about this a little bit. Maybe in terms of direct theatrical release live action film, possibly. I think it might be first for live action films. But Fantasia and Fantasia 2000 for theatrical releases, I think holds the record, but those are animated features. And that's a 59-year, 48-day gap.
So it's not too far off the mark either. I mean, 50 plus years is a pretty ridiculous kind of gap to, yeah.
And the biggest one was Bambi and Bambi 2. Bambi, the original Bambi, came out in August of 1942. Bambi 2 was a direct-to-DVD sequel, and that came out February 7th of 2006. That's a 63-year, 178-day gap. But another fun fact.
Oh, what is this? Who are you? And what have you done with Andrew?
I just noticed this.
Okay.
All three of those fucking movies are Disney movies, right?
Yes, they are. Yep, they sure are.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, Disney's been kicking ass for a long time, guys.
At least however long between the release time between Bambi and Bambi 2 was. At least for that length of time.
At least 60 some odd years, right?
Yeah, probably longer, and for many, many years to come, I would say, at this current pace. Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. Yep.
Good on you, Disney, for making things that have longevity and demand sequels
for
50 to 60 years later. Yeah, it's really impressive, actually. All poking fun at Disney aside, I think it's actually pretty impressive, and it's cool for them to kind of take some things out of the closet and say, hey, let's do this again. I mean, obviously, with live action, I feel like it's different because they've effectively recast the entire thing. But, they did kind of change time periods and stuff like that. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it when we actually talk about the movie. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. Let's talk about some news for the week. I think mostly I made basically the episode scripts around the time we initially planned to record. So a lot of this was kind of tail end of December. The timing-wise, some of it kind of released basically up until that point. So there's probably some more recent news that we'll probably get to on a future episode. But there was some stuff here I wanted to talk about. I think it's worth talking about. Yeah. So we'll start with what we have here. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first for the news?
I'm going to kick it off.
Okay.
Probably with the most humorous bit of news. Have you seen the Sonic the Hedgehog motion poster? Or any of the posters for that matter? I mean, I guess now we're talking a couple posters.
I think you have a very twisted sense of humor because that is terrifying, what I've seen from this movie. This is the new horror film called Sonic the Hedgehog. Is that correct?
Holy shit, yes. Oh my lord.
What the fuck are they thinking? I mean, honestly, from top to bottom, this is just an absolutely baffling poster here.
The whole news, I mean, all of it's baffling. We got Jim Carrey playing Eggman. Don't forget about that.
We can't forget about that. Yes, which it almost sells me on that. I mean, honestly, you throw this monstrosity with a fucking done-up Jim Carrey Eggman. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be a contender for possibly like the most misguided, worst piece of shit of all time. But damn it, if I don't want to see that train wreck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. Lord have mercy. So that's coming down the pipeline, guys.
Yeah, and it's from the producer of the Fast and the Furious. They want you to know that. That's they're advertising that on the motion poster, which I feel is very important. I just the proportions of them are just oh man, he's just like
stretched out a little bit, right?
He's like a creepy man hedgehog thing. Like Sonic fucked a woman, and they had this as their fucking abomination of a kid. What's going on here, man? It's not okay. It's not okay.
I need to see a full-on character poster.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like they've kind of hid the actual full design, and that to me suggests that they're not proud of it. Like I would think if they're like, yeah, we nailed it, guys. Like they're gonna show it off in like full force, but no, they're like, no, we've got to disguise everything about it, other than to make it look like a creepy human silhouette with a giant, massive fucking head. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But again, I'll still probably go see it. But
absolutely, I'm not going to miss that.
It's gonna be. Is that? It's coming out this year, right? It's like late this year, November. Yeah, November 19. So I think this might be the Inhumans equivalent for this year. For 19. I don't know.
You think it's going to be that unbearable? I feel like at least
I think it's very possible. I don't know,
man.
It's
gotta be humorous.
I think maybe 5 minutes of it would probably be funny, but can you imagine like close to 2 hours of that? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's pretty daunting, I would say. But I guess I'll wait to pass judgment. But
let's get a trailer. Let's get a trailer in here.
Okay. All right. Well, we can talk about.
I meant Sonic the trailer. I meant a Sonic trailer. But yeah, we can talk about some trailers.
I thought you were just trying to get out of the Sonic conversation, and I didn't blame you one bit. So I was very keen to like, yeah, let's talk about a trailer. I mean, we could do that now anyway. So we got huge trailers we can talk about. Let's start with Men in Black International, the official trailer that we got for the Men in Black spinoff, I guess, is technically what this is. You know, it's no Will Smith, no Tommy Lee Jones, but we've got a pretty damn good cast in exchange. We've got Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson headlining it, and Liam Neeson in it as well. Yeah, man, it's Men in Black. Like, this trailer is definitively Men in Black, and I'm not the biggest fan of the Men in Black films. I think the first one's probably the only one that I would hold in high regard. As I recall, the second one was bad and the third one was fine. This has a very charming cast. You know, it looks like it's having fun. So I'm not confident that it's going to be amazing, but I definitely could see this being very entertaining, very watchable.
For
kind of
sure.
Film, you know, so from that standpoint, I think it'll be fun. You know, and yeah, I'm in for it. What'd you think about the trailer?
Yeah, I'm all in. I like Men in Black. I actually, while I was bedridden, the place I was staying at on vacation, they had a VHS player, and oddly enough, one of the VHS tapes that they had in was Men in Black, the first one. The original OG Men in Black.
That's the good one to have. You know, if they had like Men in Black 2, you'd be like, oh, this is really unfortunate.
But I did watch it, and it's on a side note, it is amazing how far we've come in like audio video clarity. Like, it's baffling.
was it a blast from the past to jump into the VHS format?
It was. Like, you can't, you know, I'm at the end of like a, I don't know, 10x10 room, I guess. And it's like, oh shit, I can't discern everyone's faces. I don't know what they're like, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's like you have beer goggles on or something. It's really bad.
Yeah, well, the real important question is, did you rewind that motherfucking tape? Because if you didn't, you're going down.
I did not rewind it.
You
I ran
son
it
of a
all the way
bitch.
to the end because I fell asleep with it on. Ran that bitch all the way until it was blue. Anyways, yeah, I'm all in. I like Tessa Thompson. I think she's awesome.
Yeah,
and
she's like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have a hot take here. If you don't like Tessa Thompson, I don't like you. Boom, I said it.
Hot take. Yeah,
she's the female equivalent of Paul Rudd. It's the Paul Rudd, effect. If you don't like Paul Rudd, I don't like you. If you don't like Tessa Thompson, I don't like you. Enough said.
Yeah,
I feel
it's fair. Fair statement. And you can't go wrong with old Chris Hemsworth. I feel like they beat off of each other really well.
Yeah, I mean it's Ragnarok plus Men in Black. It's a pretty sweet combo right there. And Hemsworth, when he gets a chance to do comedy, is gold. So I think it's a really good pairing. Definitely.
Did you get the? Was there like a very apparent Thor reference?
The at the very end with the hammer thing.
Yeah, that was like
okay. I think that was very much intended to be that. Yeah, it was good. I like that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. I got another trailer we could talk about too, man. I got one that Brightburn.
Brightburn, okay.
We get this trailer from Brightburn, and apparently it's being produced by Guardians of the Galaxy director Peter Gunn. Is that right?
James Gunn, but
Peter Gunn.
I think Peter Gunn might try to come back and direct Guardians Volume 3. He's James Gunn with a mustache. No one's gonna tell the difference. It'll be fine. Peter Gunn, he'll be fine.
Anyways, yeah. So this is what we get, and
what if Superman, but bad?
Well, it's almost like, I mean, I guess, yeah, Superman, but bad. You know, that's what it's kind of poised to be, like a Superman horror movie, I guess. It's almost like a what do I want to say? It's almost like a spoof off of the DC Superman. Like the Man of Steel Superman.
I mean, it's literally like even just the way the trailer's constructed, a lot of the shots, the font that they used, it's very much aping Man of Steel, particularly.
So it's almost like they're almost poking fun at themselves, you know? Because I don't know. Or not themselves, I guess it's Sony, right?
Yeah. I mean, Sony probably shouldn't talk shit, but...
No, but... You see what I'm saying, though? I think that's why it's...
Well, actually, in a way, you could be correct, because as we know, James Gunn has joined the DC family.
Right?
He's potentially doing Suicide Squad 2. He's definitely writing it, possibly directing it. So in some ways, it could be inadvertently poking fun at himself, although when this movie was presumably filmed that was not the case, and so on and so forth. But hey, if you look at it from that point of view, it could be right.
But it does look cool.
I don't know. It looks fine.
I think cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's a particularly novel concept, but it could be an interesting spin to it. It's entirely possible this turns out better than Man of Steel did. That's I'm not going to put that past it. I think this was actually supposed to debut at I want to say San Diego Comic-Con. I think Sony was supposed to have kind of a big blowout on this, and Gunn was supposed to be there, and then that was like the time all the shit happened with Gunn, and they quickly were just like, we're going to cancel that panel. It'll be fine. So it's interesting that they still have his name very prominently displayed. I mean, he's not directing this. I don't know that he may have. I don't know. I didn't write it either. Obviously he's the big name. You throw him on there, but it's got a good cast of Elizabeth Banks is the only person in this that I know, so I take that statement back. I like Elizabeth Banks though, but I think I don't know. It could be fine. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks interesting enough for me to see. I would say, it could be interesting to watch. So I feel like I'm just using the word interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it looks interesting and leave it at that for fear of not saying the same thing over and over and over again.
I agree with you. Totally interesting.
Yeah.
What I
find interesting.
Oh,
I don't know. It's somewhat interesting. Kingsman's getting another movie. The Kingsman franchise is getting another movie. However, it's not going to be a sequel.
Okay.
It is going to be a prequel, and a prequel that actually predates the first Kingsman by quite a while. I think it's supposed to be set in the time of World War I.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. Which, interestingly enough, there's that word again. I'm kind of at the point with the Kingsman franchise where I'm like, if they did a sequel, I'd be like, oh, I don't know about that. After that second one, it was disappointing. Let's put it that way. This kind of changes it for me a little bit. Like I could see the Kingsman franchise being really fun in a period setting like that. I think that sounds pretty cool. I'm not sure if Matthew Vaughn, the director of those two Kingsman movies, is actually intending to direct this one, but I do know he's involved in some capacity. But I think as long as they get away from the problematic aspects of the second one and kind of return to the good fun of the first one and put it in this period setting, I'm very down with this idea. But I bring it up more specifically because we have some casting news for it, and I'm liking what we hear. I'm liking what I'm hearing on it so far in terms of casting. So apparently there's a couple people already cast in this that I wasn't aware of, and those are Ralph Fiennes and Harris Dickinson, the latter of which I'm not familiar with. I looked up his resume and didn't recognize him from anything, but Ralph Fiennes you may know as Lord Voldemort, amongst other roles. Grand Budapest Hotel, in Bruges. He's very good in Bruges.
Yeah, that might be his best role. I don't know.
And there's three more names that are circling this film. So the first is Rhys Evans, who was the Lizard in the first The Amazing Spider-Man movie, and I think I've liked him for the most part in everything I've seen him in. I mean, he was perfectly fine in that movie for a movie that was not perfectly fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the two names that have me most excited, I would say, are Charles Dance, who is Tywin Lannister on Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And Daniel Bruhl, who was Zemo in Captain America Civil War. And he was...
Okay.
Niki Lauda and Rush, if you ever saw that with Hemsworth, that's a good one. Good Ron Howard film. Good solid Ron Howard film. The workman director he is. So that's the names that I have on my board for the Kingsman prequel, and plot details. I'm trying to see if we've got something other than just kind of the period point of it. Not much. Yeah, just. It kind of has some character descriptions. Sounds like Rhys Evans is going to play a Russian mystic who's described as dangerous and manipulative.
Oh, that's cool.
And the Dickinson lad is going to be playing a cocky yet charming young hero who's eager to serve his country and fight in World War I. And okay, here we go. I totally skipped over this. This seems like good information to have. The movie's going to be called The Great Game, and it's going to depict the formation of the clandestine spy organization, the Kingsman. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You feeling it?
Yeah, totally feeling it. It's very interesting. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Russian
I see what you're doing here,
cool.
and I don't like it. You're making fun of me, you fuck.
It's gonna be good. I think for all its shortcomings, that Kingsman's sequel.
Kingsman, the second Kingsman with Justin Timberlake in it. That's the one.
Yeah, that one. For all its shortcomings, I don't know. I think the franchise is a lot of fun, and I think, like you said, a period piece would be very interesting and kind of cool. So I'm all in. I think they're taking it in an interesting direction.
Oh, very good. Are you all in on the last piece of news that you have for us this week?
We got an official trailer for Luther, the next season of Luther, and I am all in 110%. You caught up on Luther a while back, right?
I did, yeah. I watched all the 4 prior series before this one,
and I think you generally liked it. Yeah, thought it was real good.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. I think the last season, I think season 4 was probably my least favorite of the bunch, but it was also the shortest, and it felt very kind of detached from. It was missing a certain character,
right?
Who I felt like was an integral piece of the show. I thought it was still very good. Idris Elba is fantastic. He's awesome as DCI Luther. And I really enjoyed the show. The kind of the creativity they use with a lot of the crimes that he's forced to solve, and the ingenuity that he shows. It's a lot of fun to watch that show. It's an eminently watchable show with very charming cast members,
believable cast too. Like it feels pretty authentic, even though some of the crimes and stuff are.
Yeah, it's over the top here and there. I think in terms of the subject matter, I would say.
But the characterization feels authentic. I think.
Yeah, it's very authentic. So I liked it. The only caveat, and it's a good and a bad thing. I think it kind of works both ways. Is that like British television, they just do like really short episode orders. Whereas American television's like, we're going to have 96 episodes. We're going to have 96 episodes in this fucking season, guys. It's going to be great. We're going to be filming for literally 6 years before we can air any of it because we have so much content. The British shows, a lot of the BBC ones, Sherlock as well is another one. Like, let's just do 4 episodes. That's a season. We're good. And someone like Idris Elba, it'd be tough to kind of lock him down for like, all right, you're going to be filming for half a year on this show. It's like, you can get good talent in there. You can make really quality content because you can pour some more money into like shorter things, and I think it shows. Like I think that can be a good approach.
Absolutely.
It leaves you wanting more. That's the bad thing. But we're getting more. So.
And at the same time, they're very concise. You want more.
They're tight. They're tight.
Exactly.
They're tight experiences, and that's good. You don't. There's no filler. No. There's no time for filler. You can't have filler. If there's filler, then something's gone very wrong.
And that's my biggest problem with television shows in general. It's just filler. It's like I don't need to be here. I don't know. I'm not like I don't need to see Luther.
It's like, well, we needed to fill the time slot for this week, so here's some stupid shit for 45 minutes.
Right.
See you next week.
I highly recommend anybody watch Luther. I didn't catch the release date on that. I feel like for my little bit of news, I probably should have had that available.
No, that's all right. Actually, I don't know that there's an American release date for this yet, but if I'm not mistaken, I think this is actually aired in the UK.
Has it really?
Yeah, so I don't know how it has been received. This trailer obviously came out well before when we're recording now. So I think it might have just aired within the past several days. So hopefully it'll make its way stateside relatively soon. I think there's usually somewhat of a delay between the original airing over in the UK and when they bring it over. But
I think I acquired season 4 in a alternative method, with alternative methods, I think is how I was able to watch season 4. I might end up doing the same thing for season 5 if I can't. Should be available on like Amazon or something, right? Should be able to buy the episodes, you think?
I don't know. I think there's probably some weird distribution thing. So I just don't know. It just depends on.
That's just the worst. I hate that shit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a BBC counterpart here, but I don't know how that works in terms of how they decide. Like, I don't know if there's a good reason why they don't just air them the same time between the UK and the US. I don't know what the logistical reason for not doing that is. I'm sure there is one. I just don't know what it is, so I can't really speak on it. But hopefully, there's not too much of a delay. Otherwise, yes, you might have to
like Doctor Who
use some unsavory methods.
Global release. Remember that?
Yeah,
same time, all over the world.
Doctor Who's, I think it has more of a global popularity than certainly Luther does.
Give me
but
Luther. I want Luther. That's what I want.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. So yeah, no, I don't know. You know, I'll probably hold out and see how long it's going to take for this to make its way over here. But yeah, I mean, if you got other ways to watch it, then I'm not going to tell you no. It's not my job. So yeah, looking forward to seeing it whenever I get a chance to. And as a side note, as far as I'm aware, all 4 prior seasons should be on Netflix stateside. So if you're feeling the itch to watch some Luther, to see one of the sexiest men in the world, Idris Elba, work his magic for a few episodes at a time, check out Luther.
Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that could be worth a watch, at least I think it might be based on the trailer, is the next film from Get Out director Jordan Peele.
Ooh.
Us.
Yes.
Which,
not Us. The name of the movie is Us, to be clear. I don't want to confuse anybody.
That's correct. But collectively, we all did see a trailer for this movie too. So we can talk about it now. What'd you think? What'd you think about the trailer here?
I thought it looked pretty cool. It looks kind of weird, and I don't quite understand it. It looks like it might be a little. I guess Get Out is pretty fucking crazy too. But he's one of those people that when they're attached to a film and his name's plastered all over it and it's his. It's kind of one of those people that I think he's fallen into those tropes where it's like, let me just go see it. I think the trailer was really well made. I really like the editing and the music of it. I thought it was a very well done trailer, I would say. And I'm trying to think, I don't remember, I feel like the Get Out trailer did a pretty good job of kind of teasing out enough for you to be interested, but didn't really, it wasn't a trailer that gave away the whole movie. Like, I seem to recall watching the movie and kind of being like, oh, fuck, that's what's happening. Shit. Yeah. So,
I think there might be an element of that here, too, where you're like, okay, there's weird shit. I want to know what weird shit's going on, but we don't really know exactly what or why it's happening, So I think it's got enough there to hook me. I think definitely visually, cast-wise, there's a lot there that gets me excited, and obviously Jordan Peele following up Get Out, it's a tall task. So it's kind of you kind of have to find out for yourself. Like, okay, what does he do now?
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah,
looks cool. Well edited trailer. Interesting content. It would appear. But I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. When's that one come out? Do you know? End of the year?
Yeah, I do know. No, it's actually pretty soon. March 15th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a quick turnaround, which is cool. Probably safe to say we'll be covering it. So that's it for the news. You ready to talk about some Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. What a nice lady she is.
Mary Poppins. Sorry.
Mary Poppins Returns was directed by Rob Marshall, written by David McGee, stars Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins, along with Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ben Whishaw, Emily Mortimer, Julie Walters, Colin Firth, and Meryl Streep. In this film, Mary Poppins, a magical nanny, returns after decades away to once again help the Banks siblings through a difficult time in their lives. Now, I want to make a quick note on this. When when I actually wrote the synopsis for this, I tried to include the children in there, because the children have a pretty big role in this. It's
Sure.
a lot of the interaction, but she's a nanny, so yeah, she's a nanny for the children. That makes sense. I actually originally wrote it as to once again help the Banks siblings and their children. I'm like, I don't think that's right, actually.
No, it's not right.
It's not right. You're right. It's not right. But I was just like, hold on. How do I word this? I can't word, like, I was trying to, like, I want to be succinct, but that was well, it wasn't really succinct. It was just inaccurate and quite Game of Thronesy, if I do say so myself. So I scrapped that. I just figured I'd make a note. There's also children in this movie, but there's none of that sort of thing going on in this movie. This is a kids movie. This is a family movie, man. What are you talking about over there? What are you getting over there? Box office. Let's talk box office. Pretty soft opening. 23.5 mil for its opening weekend, which it opened earlier in the week, I think, so it had a little bit more than that for its opening period. It was good for number 2, actually, behind Aquaman, of course, owning the box office still as a side note.
Bro.
Closing in on $1 billion, I believe. It is actually, I think, the highest grossing film in the DC cinematic universe as of now, which is actually pretty fucking incredible. So
Is it though? I mean, I feel like the other ones were all duds.
But
With the
box
exception
office
of Wonder
wise,
Woman. Not box office wise?
Justice League was really the only one box office wise I would say that was disappointing for what it was. Like Suicide Squad made almost, I think, $800 million worldwide, and that's fucking insane. So,
all right.
I think Aquaman's doing exceptionally well. I mean, it's a fucking Aquaman movie. It's one of those things.
Yeah, that's true.
Time travel 10 years. Aquaman's gonna make $1 billion, and you're gonna be like, why is there an Aquaman movie? What are you talking about? So I think that's it's a little topsy turvy over there, but it's not a bad movie. So it doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Mary Poppins though, still it's carving out a little niche for itself. Obviously targeting a different audience. $138 million domestic total as of now, and it sits at $258 million worldwide.
Okay.
So it's doing all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's released in all of its foreign markets or whatever, but it's a different sort of film. It's not a blockbuster film by any stretch of the imagination. It is very definitively a wholesome family film, I would say.
And it's a musical on top of it, right?
And it's a musical, right? So that could potentially limit some of its audience. Some people don't like musicals. I think they're wrong, and that's weird, but I can understand not being in the mood for a musical. I think that's definitely a fair sentiment, but just straight up, like, I don't like musicals. I'm like, you don't like music?
You're wrong and slightly weird.
I've got my opinions too. You want your bad opinions? I'll have my hot takes too. How's that?
Shit. That is a very well said, though. I like that. You're wrong and slightly weird.
So Mary Poppins Returns. It's actually been, I guess, probably for both of us over a week since we've seen it, which is largely irregular. We try to record a little bit more immediately, but as what happened with the vacation and everything, as we kind of talked about, it wasn't meant to be. But it's meant to be now, so we're talking about it. So I guess I'm saying that to say, forgive me if there's things that I forgot about this movie or if there's details that I can't quite remember. It's been some time. I've seen several other movies in the interim, played some games. I've done many things in the interim, so I feel like I should be forgiven for forgetting a few things here.
You are forgiven. I forgive you. Yeah.
Should I happen to do that, which may not happen at all. But I want to know what you think about Mary Poppins and her return to cinema.
I thought, for me, this is not the return of Mary Poppins. This is the first experience with Mary Poppins, and I feel bad about saying that. I know of Mary Poppins. I know of a scoop of sugar or whatever makes the medicine go down or whatever the song is, and I don't know the word, but
supercalifragilistic
expialidocious. That's it. I do know that one as well. So I mean, I know some of the tunes and whatnot, but I don't know. I've never watched it.
Never sat down and watched it, right? Well, if it makes you feel better, neither have I.
Oh, okay. Well, right on, man. We're in the same
boat. We're two Mary Poppins novices coming in here with our take on this movie.
I can tell you that I find Mary Poppins incredibly. She's a very captivating character. I really enjoyed the presence of. Maybe it's Emily Blunt. I think it's probably just Emily Blunt, I guess. But I think the way that her character was written, Emily kind of just enveloped herself in the role, and I think she did an excellent job with Mary Poppins. I really, really enjoyed her presence every time she was on the screen. Don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel about that. I enjoyed, I didn't enjoy all the songs, but the ones that I did enjoy, I enjoyed a lot. So, I mean, I would say, I think probably, I would say 60% of the songs I really enjoyed. I thought they were well-written, heartfelt songs. I thought the kids were slightly annoying, but not overly annoying, and I thought they were believable characters, and I mean, enjoyed...
they were no Charles Wallace.
They weren't. Yes, there were no Charles Wallace.
I mean, who is really?
Good pull.
There's only one Charles Wallace.
That's right. They made that very clear. No Charles Wallace. There was that one little kid though who was a little shit.
I found that I don't know any of the kids' names. They're kids.
The youngest one.
The youngest one was definitely the worst of them by far.
And he was a little shit, right? And he was kind of written to be a little shit as well, I think.
Right. Yeah. I think part of it was, it was just kind of, he's the youngest, so he's the most immature. But I also felt like I don't take pride in saying that some kids are bad actors. But some kids are bad actors.
Some kids are bad. Well,
some kids are better actors than others. Let's put it that way. And so I think that the actor was probably the youngest of the three kids, but he was also the worst actor of those. And it stands out as a result, especially in the light of a really good cast overall.
Yeah.
So
I think they did a really good job. I think the cast overall did a really good job. I enjoyed the. It was a very heartfelt movie. Kind of hit me in some spots a couple of times. Not afraid to admit it. And as all of our listeners may know, I guess I'm a sensitive man, and some of these things kind of pulled at my heartstrings a little bit. Not a whole lot. I wasn't weeping, but it did kind of.
Wasn't raining on your face?
It wasn't raining on my face, but it was. I don't know. Kind of hit me a little bit. And I enjoyed the art style of this movie. There's a couple of spots where it kind of mixes like cartoony things with live action things, and I thought that it was handled well, kind of interesting. And overall, I had a very pleasant experience with it. I don't have a whole lot of gripes, especially for what it is. I don't have a whole lot of gripes for what it is. That's where I leave it at. How'd you feel about this movie?
I think this is a pretty well-made movie. I think it's a movie that is intended to be, as I've said, kind of this wholesome family film. There's a sense of wonder, there's a sense of magic to it. It's kind of this journey that we kind of see this family go through. And I think it's all, as I said, it's all very well done. But I don't know. I guess I enjoyed my time while I saw it. But it has left no lasting impression on me, I would say. I think it's, it's not a movie I don't see myself going back to. I guess maybe it's not my cup of tea, perhaps. But I thought for what it was, it's pretty good. If
you had kids, would you show them this movie?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is a great kids family film, something like that. I think, and I don't think you get a lot of movies of this ilk. Usually it kind of toes the line. There's a lot of... This is... I assume it was rated PG, but just as well could have been G, really. And I guess there's some menacing moments with, I guess, Colin Firth's character. But, really, it's as Disney as it could possibly be. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And I think that's a good thing. I don't think you get a lot of movies kind of like that. In live-action medium, I guess. You get a lot of animated films and stuff like that, and sometimes they're almost... too kiddie to the exclusion of the adults. I think this one is a good kind of film for everyone. I think older people will like it. I think new parents will like it. Middle-aged people like it. Kids will like it. I think this is the kind of movie that's got enough pop to it that it appeals to, I think, a wide range of people. And I think that's really something to like about this movie. He said, it's not something I would probably typically go for overall. and I don't know that it really. I thought, again, I thought it was a touching tale, but I don't know that I felt wowed by anything in this movie overall. I didn't come away from this movie thinking, holy shit, like, wow, they nailed that.
No.
But I thought that it was very well executed for what it was. I sound kind of clinical in my review of it, and I don't know if that's... I don't know. And again, I don't feel comfortable, I guess, really criticizing this movie, because I just think it's not something that I necessarily needed, but I thought that for what it was, I thought it was good.
And see, I might have an unfair bias because I was really excited to watch it.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's where it was for me too, where it was, I actually wasn't intending to watch it around the time that I watched it. It was kind of a second choice. It was like, we're going to go see Vice. JK, we're going to go see Mary Poppins. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. That was kind of...
Your fucking brain did a 180.
Yeah. So I think there's an element of that where I was just kind of like, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun 2 hours and I'm going to enjoy my time with it, and then I'm going to go about my life. And that's pretty much exactly how I felt about it, where I'm like, yeah, it was fun. It was cute. It was good. And there's a lot to like about this movie. And it's a movie that wants you to like it. And I think that unless, like I'm not going to be, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, because I think it's an extremely charming movie with charming characters, charming performances in it, and I think overall, like, it's like, I think unless you're just straight up opposed to the concept of this movie, then it's hard. It's hard for you to not get sucked in, at least for the time period that you're watching it. I would say. So, like I said, I enjoyed my time while watching it. It's just not something for me right now, a week on, where I'm just kind of like, God damn, I cannot wait to see Mary Poppins return again. I'm just like, no, I'm good. It was cool. I'm glad that she returned for the time period that she did. I enjoyed her 130 minutes of her return, and I'm good with that. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
If you were to drop it on, let's just evaluate the movie based on the merits of a musical, it's not a La La Land.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, that's probably part of it too, is I didn't, none of the music totally grabbed me. I thought it was all good, and I enjoyed Lin-Manuel Miranda's kind of, I think, hand in this and his performance. I thought the music, again, as I was watching it, was very charming. A lot of was it the one with the bicycles? Like, the way, that was all choreographed, it was all really cool. I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. I guess...
But that's what it is. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, a lot of it was pretty neat. It's colorful. It's an enjoyable film. What you said, the animation part, I really like that part. Where they did the kind of live action 2D blend. I thought that was very cool. Yeah, I think there's a bit of that in the original, so I think that's kind of the throwback to it.
Oh, okay.
But and that brings me to something else that's probably worth mentioning is, I don't know how this plays if you've seen the original movie. Neither of us can speak on that. So I don't know if you. I would imagine if you had a lot of nostalgia from the first one, this one would probably press some buttons, in a little bit different way than it did for us, where it's just kind of like, yeah, this is cool.
And I don't know what the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm losing my words. I don't know. Yeah, no, definitely not interesting. I don't know what the thematic, like the themes of the original movie were, but I enjoyed the themes of this one. Almost like I did not catch the Winnie the Pooh thing, but but it almost seemed like the Christopher Robin movie, almost, from what I saw from the trailers of that movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Where you're an adult and you grow up and you kind of just get sucked into, like,
you lose the magic,
Right, exactly.
And so you have to rediscover the magic.
Yeah. And I think that I don't know why that resonates with me as much as it does, but
because adulthood's not very fun.
Yeah, adulthood fucking sucks, dude. It's the worst.
Bills,
no magic at all.
Jobs,
paying bills. It's terrible.
Yeah. Where's Emily Blunt when
I wish Emily Blunt would be flying on an umbrella and I could meet her in my front yard.
Seriously, man. Maybe I do want Mary Poppins to return. I take it all
show
back.
Me all sorts of magic.
Okay, now this is a family episode, all right. Jeez. I don't know what you're talking about over there.
I don't know about. I'm not talking about In Blood. I'm talking about Mary Poppins. She's a very magical woman. Anyways, and those themes, for some reason, whatever it is, they resonate with me, and I really enjoyed the. There's a couple songs in here that are really heartwarming too. I think we can touch on those in the spoiler section, but yeah, I mean, how would you recommend this movie? Unless you have more stuff to talk about.
No, not really. I think that's more or less it. We'll touch on some things in spoilers, definitely. I didn't. You said it already, but I'll repeat it because I didn't say it myself, and I feel like if I don't say it myself, then I won't have properly expressed my thoughts. Emily Blunt is great as Mary Poppins. I think she's extremely charming. She definitely owns that role, I would say. So big shout out to her. Recommendation wise, yeah, I think if you're, again, because I don't think you really see movies like this right now. You know, this feels very much, which makes sense for a movie that came out 50 plus years after the original. It feels very much like a throwback to a movie of that era, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, a lot of things go into that.
I think it's worth checking out from that standpoint. You know, I think this is a movie that has a sort of mass appeal, not like a blockbustery type appeal, but I think that in terms of, you know, this doesn't. I think it could really capture the imagination of anyone, and for a variety of different reasons. I think kids are going to enjoy different things in this than the parents will, than maybe the grandparents. You know, the grandparents might think, "Oh shit, I watched this movie when I was young," or you know, the first one when I was young, and now it's kind of this updated version of it for the new generation. That could be something really special.
I can tell you that the audience that was at the and on a side note, I can't remember the last. I don't think I've ever been to a movie on Christmas. But the theater was packed, and
Christmas is one of the busiest holidays or busiest days of the year in general for movie theaters. As a side note,
yeah.
So
I've
played a factor.
I had no idea because I went in there and I sat and I walked and I cut the corner from the hallway, you know, and I look up there and the range of age. There were little kids there. There were old people there. I mean, it was like a full family. Everybody brought their whole family to this movie, and I went in and I sat right like front row next to the stairs. And I don't know. I'm happy nobody was sitting next to me because a couple times I had to kind of clear my nose and stuff a little bit because I was a little emotional. But it sounded like everybody in the theater had an excellent time. Everybody left with a smile on their face, and it's really cool when you go and watch a movie and you can kind of gauge audience reactions in that way. And I don't know. Everybody in the theater seemed to have a really good time with it. So
yeah, I think so. To close my thought, no, you're fine. You're fine. It kind of builds on my point. I think that if you're looking for something like this, if you have kids, you know, if you have any sort of connection to the material, anything like that, I think that it's worth a theater visit overall. I would say if you're kind of lacking that, you know, and it's not something that immediately calls to you based on the trailers, I don't know that it's necessarily worth the theater trip overall. But I think in general, I think that this is, I think it's good enough to warrant a theater recommendation. Like I said, unless you really just, you know, you're one of those folks that don't like musicals or something like that, then maybe skip it or whatever. But
you're wrong. To be clear, you're wrong and a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird, and also you happen to be wrong.
Are you
but
even human? I'm sorry.
So that's where I'm at with that. What do you think?
I think that the biggest thing I would ask somebody, if somebody said, "Do you recommend this movie?" I'd ask them do you have a problem with musicals? And if they said yes, then I would say you probably should just
keep on trucking.
That's it. You should probably just avoid it because first and foremost, I think this is a musical. But if you don't have a problem with musicals, I think that this is a movie that has enough heart. I think if you have children, bring them to the movie theater and watch it. I think if you don't have a problem with musicals, go out in theater and watch it. It's a very charming movie, and I think it's well made and there's a lot of heart put into it. And I don't know. I think it's an enjoyable movie. But if you're like like you said, if you're that one person, or I guess if you're in that small demographic that just, hey, listen, I fucking hate music and I don't like watching people sing. All right, well then, don't go watch it. But like I said, I enjoyed it, and the audience in the theater that I went to, they seemed to like it as well. I think it's got a lot of heart. I think the music's charming, and I think it's just a fun, kiddie movie. I like it. See it in theaters.
Do you want to get into some spoilers?
Yeah, we can go into spoilers. I wanted to ask you, what was your? Do you? I mean, I don't know how much you remember, but what was your favorite song?
Well, first I would like to say, full spoilers for Mary Poppins Returns.
Spoilers!
Full spoilers. I can definitively say my favorite song was not the Meryl Streep one.
Oh, that one was the worst by far.
But we can. I'll put a bookmark there. We'll come back to that. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember most of the songs from this movie.
Well, you got the first one.
I think I liked whatever. I think I'm just kind of conflating it with the sequence, but I liked the sequence when, I think Jack, the Lin-Manuel Miranda character, is lighting the torches on the way home or something like that. I really like that sequence. And that's the only one that sticks out to me, so I'm going to pick that one.
Are you talking about when the kids were lost and it ended with all the lamplighters dancing and stuff?
Yeah, I like that. I like that whole sequence a lot, so I'm picking that one. I don't remember if the music was particularly memorable, but I felt like
choreographic stuff and whatnot.
It's enough. There's enough there that I can recall it, and so that's what's coming to mind. So I think that I have to pick that one by default. But I assume you're asking because you have one in mind.
I do. I got a couple, dude. I got a couple songs I like. I like the one where Mary Poppins is singing to the youngest child about remembering his mom. And I thought that was really touching, where she talks about the things that you think are lost aren't really lost. You know, you just kind of, you just forget. Does that make sense? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that ringing a bell?
I remember the moment. I don't remember the music. I guess I should say.
I got you. That's fine. That's cool. And I did enjoy the more musically. I remember that particular moment being touching. But music-wise, I think probably the best song. I think probably my favorite song is the one where they're in cartoon land. They're in the bowl. And they call Mary Poppins up to the stage, and she kind of does her little deal, and then it's got Jack, and he does his little thing about the books being, you know, it's not whatever on the cover or whatever. I enjoyed those, but there's a handful of songs that are really enjoyable. The first song, the intro song, I thought was very good. And I don't know, man, I just had a really good time with Mary Poppins. It made my heart feel very nice.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I feel like it might be worthwhile for me to just go back and listen to some of the tracks. I'm sure the soundtracks on Spotify. It probably would have been better if I had done that before recording this, so I could have a little bit more of the immediate recall there. But yeah, just the way you're talking about it, I'm kind of just like, maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. You know, it's just been a while since I've listened. And I saw it the once, and I haven't listened to anything since. And because at the time, I didn't find most of it to be that memorable to stick with me.
And it's not. I can't remember.
Totally memorable.
I can't remember. I can't remember any songs in particular. If that tells you anything, but
yeah,
I think
I can. Yeah,
I think the moments coupled with the songs, I thought it made for a pleasurable experience. Not necessarily memorable, but
right. Okay. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I thought it was very enjoyable. Like I said, the 2D animated sequence in particular, I thought was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that, but I couldn't, for the life of me, tell you what the music was like in that sequence. So
that particular sequence had a little bit more jazzy music.
Okay.
And it was
doesn't help, but I appreciate the effort. A little bit
more fun. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. She was almost like, I'm doing a motion right now. I feel like it would be more beneficial if we need to listen. On a side note, 2019, we need to, I know do you record on a laptop?
I do not.
You do not record on the laptop. Okay.
I have in the past, but I am not currently.
I feel like I need to get some sort of camera. I feel like moving into 2019, we need to start, at least, if it's not something that we can provide to our listeners, at the very least we can use it ourselves. We can at least see each other.
Can stare lovingly into each other's eyes.
Well, I'm very animated. Like,
yeah.
I was doing like a dance.
You're trying to perform a musical for me right now. Is that what's happening?
That's
but you're
what's
like, this fucker can't see me.
He can't see what I'm
performing
doing.
A musical for myself.
So I'm sitting here moving, and I'm saying, you know what I mean? And like, you obviously don't know what I mean because you just hear my voice.
I'm just over here nodding. Yeah, totally. Oh yeah, big time. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna get a fucking camera, and then we can stare into each other's eyes while we record.
All right.
But yeah, so that's all I got for spoilers is the songs. How about, you know what? The one particular moment made me LOL very loud. And that was when. Did any particular moment make you laugh out loud, very loud? Make you chuckle? Can you think of anything?
I know I laughed, but I don't remember anything off the top of my head.
One particular moment that made me, I laughed because I thought it was slightly ridiculous, is where the original Jack, I think it's Dick Van Dyke, I think, he hopped up on his desk and started dancing, and he was like this crippled old man, but he had his own song, you know what I'm talking about? At the very end?
Yeah. I don't think it wasn't really the original Jack, but... I
don't know if he was Jack or not, but it is Dick Van Dyke.
He definitely wasn't Jack, but yeah, Dick Van Dyke, and he was... I think really he was the only actor to reprise like an actual significant role from the original film, which I think he played a different role in the original film, but the character that he played in this one was
he in
the original. I think something like that. Like I don't remember the actual specific details of it, but yes. So when he jumps up, and I mean, Dick Van Dyke he's no spring chicken. This dude's in his fucking 90s. And he mentioned that, and we were talking about that, my family and I, afterward, and we're like, yeah, they probably just got someone else to do it. Apparently, he's very staunchly saying that he actually did it himself. He did all the dancing himself, which for a man that's 90 plus years old, it's not bad.
It's not bad at all. He was
much better than I could do.
Yeah, definitely. He's doing very good for himself. But whenever he hopped up and he was full of life and everything, because throughout the entire film, he's described as being
he's like, oh, he's gone crazy or whatever.
Right.
Like that.
He's just old. He's and he's full of dementia and stuff. And then at the very end, he comes through and saves the day, and he has a little musical role there where he dances and stuff. And it was, I don't know. I thought it was very humorous. But that's all I got for spoilers. There's not a whole lot there.
Yeah, I've got a few things to touch on. So I want to first come back to, I think, the Meryl Streep part of this film, which I think is by far the worst part of this film and the most unnecessary. Is that? Do you agree?
Yeah,
do you disagree?
It's really fucking bad. Mary Poppins doesn't need a cousin, especially a gypsy cousin.
I don't. I mean, that might be from the books or whatever. But I just felt like that whole sequence was totally out of place. Totally out of place. Goofy. The song didn't resonate with me at all. I would say the biggest issue I have with it is there's no payoff to that whatsoever. So they break the fucking bowl. They bring it to her to fix the bowl,
and
then we never see the bowl again. What? I thought for sure there would be like a very deliberate shot of like the fixed bowl, in the house at the end, and like, oh, okay, they got it back from Meryl Streep. Yeah, like there was nothing.
Nope.
There was nothing there. It was just like she just stole those children's bowl. That was their mother's bowl or whatever.
After shitting over it, like it's a priceless bowl. Yeah. Your mother, it's not worth it.
I felt like for the amount of time that they devoted to that fucking bowl, and they had this weird kind of side adventure, it seemed very bizarre to me that they just kind of dropped that and really made no reference to the character or anything like that. Like, obviously Meryl Streep just had 2 days to shoot this role, and I get that, but I don't know. I felt that inclusion was very strange. And Meryl Streep is a fantastic actress, and I get that you want to have Meryl Streep in your movie, but that might have been left. That might have been better served left on the cutting room floor. I felt like that was something I didn't like. I felt like the Dick Van Dyke inclusion, while being a nice nod, felt very, it felt very Deus Ex Machina in terms of the resolution of the story, which is fine, I guess, for a movie like this. But it didn't, kind of just felt like, remember this guy, and then it was just like, yay, the day's saved. I'm like, I don't know, it's very. I don't know, didn't enthrall me with its storytelling in that manner. Let's put it that way.
No, it's pretty. I don't know. It felt kind of. I guess it feels kind of lazy, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's something that might play better, I think, if you have that sort of reference for the original or something like that, and then Dick Van Dyke comes out and you're like, holy fuck, I didn't know he was in this. Like you lose your shit. Like, it's like a Marvel character popping up in like the post-credits scenes. Like you're like, oh, they're gonna make this movie. It's like Dick Van Dyke coming. Like for the Mary Poppins fans, that might be that sort of thing. For me, I'm just like, okay, it's a 90-year-old man dancing on a table. This is fine.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of made Colin Firth look like a dickhead, and I kind of like.
Yeah, it was fine, and like I think maybe that's better than Colin Firth like having a change of heart or something like that. Like I enjoyed that Colin Firth was just pretty much a straight asshole the entire way through, and by the end he still managed to be an asshole that couldn't get his balloon to float or whatever. So I liked it from that perspective in the sense of it didn't kind of go into that trope. But it did feel very kind of left field. Like I guess there was some allusions to that character, but I kind of just I didn't think there was enough there that it felt like a very left field inclusion. But it was fine. Say for a movie like this, I'm much more forgiving about something like that. Like even the Meryl Streep thing, I'm like, it sucked, but it's 5 minutes out of the movie. It's fine. I think the movie
that was a pretty short. That was a pretty. It's
so inconsequential to the entire movie that I'm like, look, I think you could have cut it and you'd lose nothing of value, perhaps even gain some value, but it's not bad enough for it to be like, this is the worst thing. It's like, it's nothing like that. There's nothing like that in this movie for me. Like I just kind of have more of a lackadaisical approach to this film where I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. It's cute. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It is what it is. It does what it tries to do, and maybe not much more than that, but what's the issue with that? It's kind of, I guess, kind of where I'm at with it. So, yeah. No Julie Andrews cameo, the original Mary Poppins, not in.
Who was the balloon lady? I felt like the balloon lady had some sort of.
So my family and I had a conversation about this as well, because that role very much felt like it was designed to be played by Julie Andrews,
right?
But it wasn't. It was Angela Lansbury that played that character.
So you think maybe they wrote that role and then tried to present it to the original
I think
Mary
that's what
Poppins?
happened. Yeah, and I know she turned it down, and I know she didn't want to do any singing or anything like that because I don't remember exactly what the circumstance is, but she can't sing anymore.
She said she didn't want to detract from Emily's.
Right, she said that, but I also don't remember exactly what happened, but I think she has vocal issues, so she can't actually sing anymore now. So I think that may be an aspect of it too, where you're like, well, I don't want to do this if I can't actually really do it, the way it properly needs to be done. Obviously, they could have her play the role and have someone else sing for her, but, in that circumstance, she may not want to do that.
Sure.
Which is totally fair. But I just the way that to me, like right after you get the Dick Van Dyke, and then you're like, oh, it's the balloon lady, and I'm like, who the fuck's the balloon lady? And it was just kind of like the way it was shot,
framed. Yeah,
it very much felt like a look who it is. I'm like, okay,
who the fuck's that lady?
Yeah, it definitely felt like that. That like just the way that they framed it very much seemed to indicate that there was some greater importance to that character than I think there actually ended up being. But it was a fun sequence, flying around in the balloons. I was like, oh my god, what if those balloons pop? How are they going to get down?
They're going to sue the fuck out of that balloon lady for sure.
They did show them coming down, which I was pleased with. I was like, oh, they showed them kind of floating down on the balloons. I was like, balloons don't work that way, but it's fine. It's Mary Poppins.
It's Mary
Magic,
Poppins,
motherfucker.
Dude. Magic.
Too much, motherfucker.
Too much of an adult.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I have for Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, man.
Just surprisingly more than I thought I would have to say on the matter. So I envy you for bringing that out of me. You brought me to the light. I was kind of just like, Mary Poppins. But now I'm like, yeah, Mary Poppins.
It's pretty fun when you watched it. When you watched it, your heart was full of joy, and you've since gone back to being an adult. Paying bills and...
The magic has disappeared, unfortunately.
That's what happens with adults. I think that's what Mary Poppins says.
Yeah, well, maybe one day Mary Poppins will return again. I don't know. I honestly...
I'd be okay if she didn't.
Yeah, like, I'd be... So it's like dark. It's like, Jesus, dude. Maybe those kids are going to be adults one day and they're going to lose the magic. You ever think about that? I think that if you make another Mary Poppins movie, you wait. You wait 20, 30 years. 50 years. I don't think you need to wait another 50 years, but I think you can pull a Star Wars and wait like 20-something years and...
Another generation's Mary Poppins. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I'd be okay with that. Like, I'm not like, where's the next one? Like, I need it within the next 3 years. Like, I don't think this isn't that kind of movie. Like, this is kind of like a, have like a generational gap between movies, and I think that would be fine. I mean, who knows what movies are going to be like in 30 years? So
it's true.
Maybe it's actually just maybe in 30 years. This is a very dark thought. Maybe in 30 years. The technology will be so good that they can just reanimate all of the original characters from all the actors and everything from the original, so they can set it in the actual time period of the original. And by that point, presumably most of its cast will have passed away, and we're in this weird film future where they just Tarkin everyone, just like all Tarkins.
Black Mirror shit.
Some Black Mirror shit. But in my theoretical 30-year future. It actually doesn't look terrifying, but it's terrifying in the context of it. Just like, wait, none of these are actually people.
What have you done?
What's going on?
What have you done with our family episode?
Well, Mary Poppins Returns, everybody.
That's it.
Don't do that in the future. Don't get any ideas. The studios that listen to this, they're like, wait,
we copyright that shit.
It's a pretty good idea. I think, can we legally do that? Hey, check it out with the lawyers. Can they legally do that? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to?
Yeah, have you been? I mean, I know you watched some Men in Black VHS, but you've been switching it up or anything on your vacation?
I have. I meant to talk to you about this because I know you and one of our frequent guests, Henry, had been playing some Super Smash Brothers, and I played a lot of this on my trip. And you guys were talking about progress, and maybe this is spoilers, #spoilers for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay.
But have you beat Master Hand and whatever that light thing is?
Yes.
And then there's more game after that?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I got up to that point having unlocked basically half of the characters in the game through the World of Light mode. I'm like, did I miss a lot, or what's happening here? And so I ended up just fighting him, and yes, there's a whole nother
section.
There's a whole nother, it's a whole nother map. So I am not. Yeah, cool. I'm in the second map, but I think still very far away from completing the game because I still have at least 20 characters or so to unlock through that mode. So I'm kind of using that as my metric. I feel like once I have all the characters unlocked, probably pretty close.
I got you. Yeah, so I have to beat the Lord of Light or whatever he is the first time, and then I guess that's a 50% marker, I guess. But anyways, I have watched some shows. I watched Bird Box on Netflix, which is the worldwide phenomenon happening right now. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. No, is it worthy of all of the internet attention that it's been getting?
No, it's not worthy of all the internet attention that it's getting. I don't mean to...
But is it all right in and of itself?
It's okay. There's better movies to be watched if you want to watch a post-apocalyptic movie about a mother with children. I think
Quiet Place. What?
Yeah. A Quiet Place is probably the movie to watch.
Starring Mary Poppins herself.
That's true. Yep. And... I think The Road is also a good choice. I think that's a good movie, starring Viggo Mortensen. There's a lot of movies about parents and raising children and stuff and post-apocalyptic situations, and I don't think that this is the best one. But I don't know. It's got people putting on blindfolds and doing stupid shit, so maybe there's something to be said about that. I don't know. I also played Bandersnatch. Or watched Bandersnatch?
The Black Mirror one.
Yeah, the interactive Black Mirror thing.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel conflicted. I don't know how to they call it. They label it as an interactive show or interactive viewing experience. I don't know how to classify. It seems like a choose your own adventure video game almost, just live action.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know quite how to classify that, but I played it by myself on Friday. I had somebody come over on Saturday and see where they went, and we got a couple of different endings there. I got a couple of different endings by myself. I'm eager to play it by myself again and see what kind of different endings I can find.
So does it actually feel different enough, like, for your different... I mean, sometimes I feel like they have stuff like that, like, I think Mass Effect's like the biggest culprit in terms of video games, are like, look at all these choices you have, and then you end up with, it's basically all the same. Does it actually have pretty different, like big divergences, or is it kind of still feel pretty on rails?
The first time I played it, I had a very good experience with it, and it went fucking crazy, right? And then I hit the end of that, and then it does this thing where it kind of just pulls you in to do it again, right? From different points at which the story can deviate. So yeah, there's significantly different endings. And the person I played it with last night said that it felt like it was kind of trying to push you towards one ending, which may or may not be the case. It just depends on, maybe because I achieved the longest possible ending the first time. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Like, there's drastically different endings that you can achieve much shorter, but it pulls you back in to try to keep going down the line, right? So, I don't know. It's entertaining enough. I feel like I get wrapped up into a rabbit hole where I just keep going and going and going and going, just trying to get different responses or different endings, and I don't know, I really enjoy it. I think it's interesting, and the way they handle the story, I think, is really interesting as well. They do it. The character is, I don't want to really give a whole lot away, but it's a troubled character, let's say, and you're choosing the responses to certain things, and it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. I've had a lot of fun with it. What else did I do? I've got, I watched Escape Room today.
Yes.
Came out
okay. The horror film, literally about an escape room. Yes.
That is correct. Starring, Deborah Ann Wolfe from Daredevil. I don't recommend this movie. I don't recommend you go out and watch it in theaters.
What?
I don't think it's bad enough to where you need to wait till somebody to pay you to watch it.
Okay.
But you could probably catch it on.
It's good streaming kind of thing. Probably.
It's good streaming kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to put it on and then like go cook some dinner and just kind of like watch it in between shit, that's probably a pretty good choice. But it was that's what it was. It's an escape room movie.
What if they fashioned an escape room about that escape room? Like, would you do it?
Like if it was like a real life escape room?
No, not exactly, but just like a normal escape room, but it was thematically just themed after that, where they just took
totally
portions of that and made it so you're probably not going to get murdered or whatever while you're doing it. Presumably, people get murdered while they do that. I assume it's a horror movie. People probably died, but yeah, I mean, thematically, seems like okay, whatever.
Yeah, I would totally do an escape room like that. Seems like a pretty cool thing.
So it works better as an escape room than a movie. Is that the bottom line?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay.
Maybe. And what else have I done? I picked up some movies at the Best Buy. I picked up Die Hard, the Die Hard series. On Christmas, I picked up the Rambo series, and then I attempted to watch with Henry. I attempted to watch Big Trouble in Little China, but you know me well. You could probably guess what happened when I attempted to watch that after we recorded the Spider-Man episode. I fell asleep. So this week, what I'm going to do is I am going to have 80s action movie week this week. Big Trouble in Little China. I got Rambo's First Blood Part 2, First Blood Part 3, I think is what they're called, and then I've got the Die Hard series. So I'm going to enjoy some wholesome 80s action movies, and I'm very, very excited about that. So I'm I also took a 12-hour traffic course, which is brutal. Don't break the don't break the law. I don't recommend that. 12-hour traffic course is pretty brutal. So,
as a law student, I can also agree with that sentiment. Breaking the law, not a good idea, I would say. Lots of headaches.
Also,
lots of
hot
headaches.
take. If you go to court, don't recognize the person that's been subpoenaed against you. Don't recognize them in court. It's in your best interest not to recognize other people in court. Just throwing that out there. It's the whole reason why I had a traffic course. Could have been avoided if I did not recognize the lady in court. Anyways, I digress. Go ahead, Colton. What have you been up to?
Well, a few things here and there. So while I was at home, I ended up rewatching a few things that had kind of come out over the past couple of years. Some of which we had episodes on here, some of which we did not. So I watched Logan Lucky again. I really enjoyed that film.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good heisty. Steven Soderbergh goodness. Was it? What is it? They have like an actual joke in the movie about it being like Ocean 7-Eleven, something like that. So it's not too far off the mark, but it's good fun. I feel like the casting that's really good. I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp again.
Oh yeah,
which I quite enjoyed. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed that movie. It's a nice, kind of literally small scale, but like low stakes kind of movie for the Marvel Universe. Like the universe is not at stake. It's just like, I just want to get my mom back. I was like, I like that. That's better than like, oh no, there's a blue light pouring into the sky. Oh, it's a portal from nowhere. It's less that and more just a more personal story. I like that. And Paul Rudd, man, you don't like Paul Rudd?
Something's wrong with you.
Got lots of things wrong with
I don't
you.
like you. Is that what you say?
I got a bone to pick.
Got
what
a
I
bone
say.
to pick. Bone saw is here.
I rewatched Coco.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was weird. I think it was raining on my face a little bit towards the end. So I don't know. Might need to see if there's any leaks in the ceiling or something like that. I don't know exactly what's happening there.
Right.
Yeah, so that was really good. I have watched a couple new things in theaters as well. I watched The Favorite with my brother Jordan, who joined us for Aquaman very recently.
What was that one about?
That is a period piece with Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, and Olivia Colman.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I remember.
Yeah,
now.
it's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who did The Lobster.
Mm-hmm.
You ever saw that? And The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which I didn't see the last one. It's a little bit more straightforward than those, but it's still got his kind of touch to it. It's actually, I really enjoyed it. Very, very funny movie. Very well made. The costuming was really great. It was a really strong script, I felt. So I really enjoyed that. I also saw If Beale Street Could Talk, which was the latest film from Barry Jenkins, the director of Moonlight. And that was an exceptional film as well. I thought that was fantastic. Great cast. So
which one is that one about?
It was a pretty fucking depressing story, actually. So it's this basically about this couple. The lady, she gets pregnant, and they're two black people. She gets pregnant. He ends up getting falsely accused of rape and gets put in jail. And basically, so the whole kind of thing is them trying to deal with, getting him out of jail, and her, being pregnant and eventually kind of having to deal with having a kid. She's 19, so it's kind of,
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, so it's not an uplifting film. It's an extremely heavy film, but it's exceptionally well made. I thought it was really, really good. Very impressed with it. And Moonlight's, as a side note, is also
still haven't seen it.
An incredible film. So I think it's on Amazon. So not just you, but anyone looking for something
high drama
to watch. Right? Yeah. Moonlight's, I would say, a little bit more uplifting than If Beale Street Could Talk, but it's not. It's a really, really heartfelt movie. You can tell that there's a lot of personal touch infused with it from the director. And I always get confused because there was the fucking bullshit with La La Land at the Oscars, but I'm pretty sure Moonlight technically won that year for Best Picture, and I think it deserved that. So it wouldn't have been my personal pick, I think, overall. I think I did actually enjoy La La Land more. It was kind of more my shit, but I thought Moonlight was an exceptional film, too. So, outside of the movie realm, I've been playing Forza Horizon 4 on the Xbox One X, and I don't play racing games that often. I've played a little bit of Need for Speed back in the day. I've never been a fan of simulation racing games because I'm like,
Forza's really fucking pretty though, right?
So Forza has two different types of games. There's the Forza Motorsport games, which are the simulation type games, like the racetracks and stuff like that. And then there's the Forza Horizon, which is like over the top fucking craziness, open world, crazy pristine vistas that you can drive through. And so Horizon's always been more my shit, and this game is amazing, and it's the newest one, so it's taking full advantage of the technology. You've got HDR capabilities,
4K.
Runs at 4K, and it's just like, this is awesome.
Does the 4K run at 60 frames on the
Does
X?
not. You can choose to do 4K 30 frames or 1080p 60 frames. I've been going for the higher resolution. So
yeah, okay.
Taking advantage. I got fancy new toys, so
that's it. Gotta play with them.
But it's really fun. It's in like a fictionalized version of the UK, so it's cool. And there's parts of it that's like a scaled down version of Edinburgh, and then there's a lot of like countryside to drive through. And the new thing they added for this game was seasons. So like every week it rotates a different season. So it's winter right now, so it's all snowy and car slides everywhere, and it's really fucking annoying. And then it'll be spring, I think, come next week. So it's fun yet also annoying, but it's really cool. It's pretty well integrated too, and it kind of it's a obviously shortened version. They don't want people to be driving in the snow literally for 3 months at a time or whatever. But
right,
it's really good. Playing Smash, as you said, as we talked about. So I don't really feel the need to say much more on that. And going back to school soon, so it's going to cut into my free time quite a bit. So I don't really have big plans for this week other than better get cracking on them textbooks. You know what I mean?
That's it, man. That's what you're doing.
Nah, it'll be all right. I'm looking forward. Got some new classes, so that'll be cool. I'm out with the old and with the new. I like that. It's good. So that's I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's it.
Well then. Thank you all for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, we encourage you to spread the word however you'd like. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Maybe use Instagram. Snapchat. I know Andrew's a big fan of the Snapchats. So
add me on the snaps. Let me hold on a second. I can reference this real quick.
I mean, I have a Snapchat. I don't know what it is, but I don't really use it that often. But
My
you're a frequent snapper.
Is Tiger Blood IV. Add me for all sorts of wonderful snaps.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you'd like to support us financially, you can do so through our Patreon, which we have had set up for close to a year now. It's been successful, helped us fund a mic purchase, and it's been a worthwhile endeavor. But the big catch, the reason we want you guys to help us out with a little bit of money, $2 a month, not very much money, mind you, is you get early access to regular episodes like this one, as well as timed exclusive access to our bonus episodes that we have been doing mostly monthly. We actually don't have one set right now for January. I'm not sure what the status of that will be, but we will have something planned out, and
we'll let you know by the release of the next episode.
We'll let you know as soon as we get a plan together. Let's put it that way. But our current episode is still up there. It's still only available on Patreon right now. So if you'd like to listen to our episode on the Trilogía de Guillermo del Toro, got to support us on Patreon. It's the way to do it. Website, watchreviewrepeat.com. Check it out. It's nice and fancy. I think we're coming up on, or we might be right around the year anniversary of us launching our website. And I think it looks just as spiffy as it did then, but now it's got a lot more content on it, so that's cool. You can follow us on Twitter at WRRPod, like us on Facebook, send any questions, comments, suggestions to our Gmail account, which is watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode's kind of in the same boat. We haven't quite hashed out what we're going to do. We have options. I would like to talk about Bumblebee personally. I think Vice is another one that could be a contender for an episode. Haven't actually seen it yet, so I'm not sure on that. And then, of course, I don't think we're going to do it quite our next episode, but we will have our best of 2018 episode coming out probably sometime this month, I would say, and then we'll probably try to do a look ahead for 2019 as well. So we should have plenty of content on the horizon. It's just a matter of sitting down and scheduling it and, getting it all out to you guys. So I think that's about it. Andrew, you have anything else to say to our listeners?
Just one thing, my friend.
Oh.
Ladies on the min, Jay.